Another option that we have with Microsoft Access is the ability to use calculations. So in instance, if JSP wanted to figure out the total amount from a current client equaling the amount paid and the amount still due, what we can do is we can set up a calculated field within a query. So we will begin to do that, and let's start first by opening up a new query. And we want to do that from our client table. So let's select our client table. We can open that up, and then we want to do a create, and then let's use our design query. Once again, we're going to use the client table and close. So let's go ahead and expand this dialog box to show all of our client table fields. And the ones that we want to use for this calculation are going to be client number, client name, amount paid, and current due. Once we have those four selected, and we see them all four down here from our client table, and all four are showing, what we need to do now is we need to right-click on the field column and the next available column. So let's right-click right here at the field, and we see we have several new options open up for us. Once we see these, what we want to do is let's go ahead and select Zoom, and then we have our Zoom dialog box open up. Now we will begin to type in a formula, if you will. And so the formula that we're going to use today is going to be the total amount. Let's make sure we spell that right. Total amount. And instead of equal sign, what we do is we're going to use a colon. Alright, from there we're going to use square brackets. And it's going to be the amount paid plus squared brackets the current due squared brackets. Double check to make sure that you've used a colon and the squared brackets around the amount paid and current due. Once you've done that, make sure that you go ahead and click OK. And then you see that pop up here in the fifth column underneath field, and you see there is no table attached to it, and that's showing that this isn't pulling from a current table. This is a calculation in which we are making. So let's go ahead now and let's view this in the datasheet view, and we can see here that it's actually gone ahead and totaled it up for us, and it's used our calculation to give us a total. Now the ones that have the 0, it's pretty easy to see. However, here let's look at bit and limes when we see these two amounts were totaled up to give us the total amount for that current customer, that current client. Now, doing this and creating this option or this calculation is much easier in Zoom. There is a second option called the build option that you can use as well. And if you have questions about that, be sure to ask your teacher. But often you're going to find that the expression is going to be much easier to do using the Zoom calculation. Now, one thing that we may want to do is we may actually want to change one of these titles or one of these captions. So in order to change that, so let's go ahead and let's return to Design View. And what we want to do is let's click the Design tab to make sure that this is our active tab. And once we have that, let's go ahead and let's find our amount paid field. And let's click on the Properties button. So Property Sheet button up here in the right-hand corner. And we see that this Property Sheet dialog box will open up here on our right-hand side. So let's find the caption box. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in a new value for this caption. And the caption is what's going to be displayed. So let's just go ahead and type in paid. Simply paid, not amount paid. And now let's close this property sheet. So now let's go over to our current due. Once again, let's do property sheet. And in the caption box for this one, let's just write due. And then let's close that one as well. Once you've got both of those captions changed, let's go ahead and view in Datasheet View. And we see that the caption for each of those fields has now changed to paid and due respectively. So if you want to customize this for a certain query or for a certain result, that's what you need to do. In data sheet view, or excuse me, in design view, under property sheet for that field, you can change the caption at any time. Alright, let's go ahead and close this query for query 1, and when it asks you to save the changes, go ahead and click no, and we should return back to our client table.